I think I hit the button. Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll add a little bit more on the vegetarian thing just for the fun of it. I read some of the comments, but I should do the whole comments because some of them are hilarious. Anyway, and the kind of ad was basically saying in the comments that this real dilemma is you can't say meat is murder because then murder isn't murder. No, it's exactly the opposite argument. That quite clearly they have similar, they are similarly wrong in terms of the exploitation nature. What makes murder is the taking part. You know, when you're doing it for a selfish reason, not a necessary reason, not self-defense, not any good reason. You're just doing it because it's conducive to your welfare and you're disregarding somebody else's welfare. It's satisfying your hate or your something, and it's violating everything the other thing has. And so in that sense, the taking from animals is just as overt, and the hypocrisy of it is made clear, because if we did treat dogs and cats like we treat pigs, there would be such an outcry from the people. There actually was a while back when the military here in some New Jersey base was using stray dogs and cats in ballistic experiments, in ballistics experiments, blowing them up, shooting them, that kind of stuff. See how effective how lethal their weapons were. And so they were living animals, and they shot them. And so everybody was pretty upset about this. But as soon as they decided to go to pigs instead, controversy gone. So it's okay to shoot pigs and blow them up and hurt them and harm them. And it just doesn't, you can't make logical sense out of that. It's irrational. It's obviously inconsistent, premised. There's no facts that can be consistently applied for that kind of inconsistent judgment. So it just is fail. It's just on its face. But anyway, the other argument made, let me think of what it was. Oh, damn. Yeah, shit. This video might be really short. I want to make some other damn point. Now I don't remember it. Shucks. But animals are... It all comes down again to this, just what is it that we value in each other? It's our harmability. And that's what the question is. And this isn't about a necessary evil. It's about an unnecessary evil. It's not even as addictive. I used nicotine as an example, where this Sharia majority feels a right to exploit cigarette smokers. And that's a highly addictive substance. The most addictive substance on earth, perhaps. Meat is not. Meat is a habit. Meat, you can change your habit quite easily. You can certainly reduce the amount of it without much trouble. And you minimize the amount consumed. And there's the other part of this is the social benefits, the fuel savings and all the other health benefits and whatnot that come with promoting vegetarian diets. So the idea that you would encourage people, reward people with maybe a subsidy for being vegetarian makes a lot of sense. But again, they want to keep turning it into some sort of draconian question that somehow they're all going to be shot in the streets. Just as silly. That because it is a like crime to murder, that somehow we have to have exactly the same penalty. We obviously have different standards for the definition of murder. Intent, accidental killings, ones that just have to do with circumstances that are sometimes beyond explicit control. So yeah, you could concede that this is a bad habit. It's a habit that needs to change. it'd be better for the human race to migrate somewhere else. And it's not a big crime to say it. But anyway, let's make some other comparisons. All right, we have laws against statutory rape. So, I think those are perfectly sensible. So let's say I have the circumstance of a slutty 15-year-old, and she propositions a 45-year-old, let's say, seduces him, clearly, and, he doesn't resist. He falls for the bait, and he goes to jail, right? That's the crime. The crime gets committed. Is that event, that harm, a greater harm than the harm a pig will endure, being trapped in a little tiny box in its own excrement for its entire life and artificially inseminated to keep having more pigs, more slaves for the slave industry? Are you going to tell me that the man in jail for his statutory rape is really more of a criminal than the person artificially inseminating that poor pig? I mean, if you're going to say that, I think it's just a silly argument. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Whoops, wrong turn. Snow fooled me. But whatever. I mean, all this stuff comes down to where your rational definitions of the fundamental value is. If you value nothing more than individual autonomy, the rights of individuals to take whatever they can possibly snare, whatever they can grab, without the parents knowing, or without society. I don't even know if these people want society. They're just takers. So they just want a world where they can take as much as they want. So why am I even having a conversation with people that stupid, right? You quit being hypocrites. That's all. Just acknowledge the truth. It's perfectly rational to judge our psychologies, judge the expense of our indulgences, and acknowledge that they're too expensive. I wondered, would anti-Kantavad think it fascism and Sharia imposition to deny people the right to conduct cockfights for money, and dog fights for money, and bullfights for money? Does he think that a terrible imposition on the minority rights of the torture-loving crazy fucks? I mean, what's going to be your rationale for why societies, rational people, sensible people, shouldn't recognize that to be too high a price for too little a profit? I don't think you can make a rational argument. This path is lame. Yeah, I gotta make it better than this. Ow. Oh damn, there were so many dumb points in his comments and I can't remember them. Well, anyway, I'll get back to them then. That's what I'll do. At a future time, I will make another video much more coherent than this one. And I will apologize that this wasn't all it should have been. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll apologize. Sorry. I should have done a better job. My bad. I'll try to do better. Yeah, I can't try to do anything, actually. I'm all out of try. I really am. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. That's all. I was just waiting. Maybe I'd fall down here. That might entertain you. But I think I'll be okay. So, till next time.